Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the next video to get this 2011 Rockwood Mini Lite back in order. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to build out the shower, and then we're going to install the new Palisades tiles into the shower and get that taken care of. So let's go take a look at what we're going to be doing. All right, so we're pretty much done with the framing. That's the old toilet. That cabinet was in there earlier in the video before we did all the floors in here. So I've reframed for the new shower and just connected up to the old walls. And I framed this like on edge here so that my water lines can come up through, and this is about where my shower valve is, and then we'll have the head up there. And I just got a little subframe built down in here and another wall. Go ahead and grab that floor and we'll put that down. All right, there is the plywood on top of there, and I'll just grab that pan, that shower pan, and drop that in there. It is really tight quarters in here, so it's really hard to do some filming. As we move forward, I'll try to get something set up, but there's no place to really set up in here. So let's grab that pan. So the shower pan's in, and what I plan on doing is I'm gonna have a removable panel that's gonna actually tuck right behind here. And I got another member that's gonna go in here and support that, but I don't have that material right now. And then that panel will come off and it allows me to get access down to that trap. And then that cabinet is gonna come over to about right there because the toilet's right here. So it's gonna come out about 14 inches, 15 inches from that wall. And then we've got a glass panel that we're going to put in there. And so the next thing I got to do is I need to get the back. I'm going to put the back wall on first, and I'm actually using I'm going to use plywood for the backing on here. I went back and forth whether I was going to put like a go board in here or whether I wanted to put something else, and I ultimately decided that I'm going to put some plywood in here, and that hopefully will keep these panels a little bit stiffer. With the cap moving around, it's going to jostle all over the place, but we'll see how that, hopefully it stays together. So I'm gonna go get that back panel cut, and then I'll cut my two side panels, and then we'll go from there. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm planning to put RedGard on all of this, so it will seal the plywood up once it's installed. I'll keep it up from the bottom here a little bit. Again, the other thing is this is a camper that's already 15 years old. We're gonna fix up and make it for us for a little while, but who knows how much longer this has got, how much life this got in it. So anyway, let's get some plywood. So I brought the toilet in, kind of just set it where it's gonna go. I've got all the plywood screwed up. I do have a little bit of a gap on the bottom here. And then I'm gonna go get some RedGard. I'm gonna paint this, and it's a waterproofing you can use for bathrooms, and it creates a membrane. When we get done, excuse me, this is, let me see if I can set this up without dropping the camera. We're gonna put that's part of the old shower door, so we're gonna put that there. And then here, let me set this back down. Then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have a wall here go right up tight to this, and then come back just enough for the toilet to clear, and the toilet tank can go up. So before, here was where the edge of the cabinet was, and there. So we're gonna come back out here and out that direction. So it should almost double the cabinet space. And then I'm gonna do is from the top of the toilet, I'm gonna put one or two drawers, I don't know yet, and that'll go to the height of the lid. So if the lid's down, we can get to those drawers. And then above that, I will put, might split it into two doors. I don't know. Once I get it framed in, I'll figure that out and go from there. So then the next thing, as soon as I get, go get some RedGard to get that on that. Then we decided to tear this disaster out here. And there's a couple reasons. It's only 30 inches high. It's just really low. The worst part of it is in here, is underneath here is where the water filter and the water pump is, and it's really kind of bare to get in there because everything's on that side, which you got 6 inches over there. So I'm gonna move it over, raise it up, probably put either, I don't know if I'm gonna do one or two doors, but I'll put a bigger opening in there so I can get in there, and then raise it up, and then we'll put a new top on it, probably a new sink, and then keep moving forward. All right, more progress being made. Got that vanity rebuilt, and at least the face frame for it. There'll be probably a single door on that. It's not that big of a door. It'll be about an 18-inch door, and that'll allow access to get into the filter and the pump that will get mounted down. I did raise this up about 3 inches and then brought it forward a little bit too. So I think that'll be a lot nicer vanity. It's still enough room to work in here. There used to be a door kind of there, and I just put a end cap on that. And we've gotten rid of that, and we always use a shower curtain, or just a curtain to go across there. So that's fine. So moving around, so I've got this built in, and I just used some scrap cleats or cutoffs that I had, and glued and screwed, because this outside wall is only an 1/8 inch, and then basically put shelf brackets in. So I did 1, 2, 3 shelf brackets, and then this one, another one, and then this will be a drawer. So it'll be about a 12-inch deep drawer that'll slide out. This will clear when the door, if we never leave it open, but if I can open the door whether it's closed or open, and then when it's closed, then we can get to this drawer. I think this is going to be a great place for, I think, our clothes. There's a ton of space here. It's back of the camper, so it does bounce around a little bit, but I think that this will be a great closet. And then on the other side, we have a hanging closet. So I did go ahead and get the first coat of RedGard in here, and I got that. I'm going to do a second coat. The other thing that I did is I had picked up a little light off of Amazon, and it was just a little bitty light, but it gets a little bit of extra light into the shower area at night. And it's all right. So I finished up. I've got 2 coats of the RedGard on there and let that dry overnight. And then now what I did is I came in here. First I leveled and put the stabilizer jacks on the trailer, so I make sure that's relatively level. Then I came in and established a level line. So these panels are about 15 inches tall. I think they're 15 by 25, and I'm going to end up with 4.5 rows. So I did a little bit shorter row down here, 12 inches instead of 15. And then I'll have another, I think, a 10-inch row at the top. But I put a level line in here all the way across. I did leave a little bit of a gap, like an 1/8 inch underneath there, so I was able to get some caulking underneath there. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I went and dry fitted the first 2 rows to make sure I get my layout and happy with the way everything's going. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these off real quick, and then I'm going to use the adhesive in the corners here. I will put a bead of white silicone in there in 2 spots as I fit this together, and then afterwards I'll come down and put a nice bead of white silicone down in those corners and all the way around. There is going to be that glass door over here, so that's going to cover this, and then on this side it returns back in. I'll just put another bead of silicone in there. So let's see if we can get this thing done. So in order to get access to the water lines, I did go ahead and leave this cubby out of here. This will be able to go on there. And then what I did is I picked up a cutting board. So this is just a piece of high density plastic and white. So what I'll do is I'll just screw that. I'll bevel the top edge on there, and then I can screw that to the wall. I can fit this faucet into this, and then if I ever need to get back in there, I can get back to those. I can also get through those. I've got, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a little bit of a gap in there, so I can get to my water line. So if anything ever did happen, I have full access to get to the water lines. And yeah, there's an example of how I just applied the adhesive, and this is the adhesive that we're using. This is one of them. It's got to be the white, but the Power Grab Ultimate in the white. That's one of the products that's recommended for that. And then I'll do a little bit of a silicone in there, a little bit of silicone in there, and then when I bring in my next piece, I'll run a bead of silicone up in there. So when we're all said and done, you can see I got a little bit of silicone in there where it squeezed out, and then when I'll come back afterwards, and I'll put a really nice finished piece of silicone along the bottom edge and along all the inside corners and edges. So that's what I was talking about in the corner. So I've got my next piece is going to go in there and I'll butt up against it. And then I'll come back with a finish bead of silicone afterwards, but that gets it nice sealed in behind. With the RedGard, there should be no reason this should ever leak. So that's all I'm doing on the butt seams and the horizontals and the vertical seams. I'm just putting a little bead of silicone in there. All right, looking so much better. So we've got a couple of things yet to finish up. I've got to attach this to the wall. I've got some caulking that I'm going to do down in here and in the corners. I still have to attach this wall here, and I've got one small trim piece I'm going to put up at the top there. But otherwise, this is back together. We have a functional shower. This is what I talked about earlier, so I've got access into my plumbing, so I can do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple stainless steel screws, and I'll just screw that to the wall. And then I'll just put a little bead of caulking at the top of that. So, but other than that, this thing's ready to rock and roll. And after a little cleanup, but yeah, pretty happy with the way this came out. And next we're going to move forward into some of the cabinetry and repainting and looking at some of the floors.